Welcome to Beerfield. I am your host, Chris Hopper, at Beerfield Hop with 2 P's on X, at Hop134 with 2 P's on... Still saying X screws me up. At Hop134 with 2 P's on Threads. Welcome to week 2. We're coming off of week 1. We'll recap all of that. We got a week 2 preview for you and kind of the new preview light type of format that we're doing. At Beerfield Theory is here. We're being joined by a returning at Ryan Miner _FFB.
Hi.
Ooh, I'm echoing. Why am I echoing?
Oh, it's my phone.
Yeah, stop that.
On it.
Hate that shit.
I can't
Stop it. God, Ryan.
Sorry.
Quit. I just dadded you. I'm sorry.
Even though I'm the oldest one here, I'm the one that's
spray him through the
most.
thing. Spray him through the. You gotta spray him with water through the.
I've got
the
one around
webcam.
here somewhere. I would totally do it too. I've got one somewhere.
Why did he take that angle?
Oh, episode 450, by the way. Happy milestone episode, guys. We got 50 left.
Woo!
Yay.
50 more weeks.
50 more weeks. This is our last week too, assuming we line everything up right. Yeah. So you know what we're doing. You know who we are. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're drinking.
What's fueling Beerfield?
All right. Why don't one of y'all start for me?
I'll go
I
first.
am. Go ahead.
Wait, no, Dan goes first.
I
forgot
forgot. I'll
how-
go first.
Yeah, you go first.
No, it's fine. I am.
You're watching a football game.
'Tis the season of Oktoberfest and pumpkin beers. I am going back to pumpkin and going with New Holland. This is Ichabod, their pumpkin ale, New Holland, out of Michigan. I can't remember where in Michigan. Ryan, you remember
Holland. It's out of Holland.
Okay, Holland.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that makes
You know,
sense.
well,
Given
even
the
though it says
name.
New Holland, people think, oh, I'm going to New Holland. I'm like, no, you're going to New Holland.
You're going to Holland. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess it makes sense just given the name. So yeah, I'm drinking their pumpkin ale. Considered one of the best around here. But yeah, it's Han Solo season, so it's time for pumpkin beer.
And I'm going a different route. I'm going something that's normally designed for a colder beer. So Pollyanna, I'm not even Schuttenheimer. I don't know how to say this. It's an Eisbach. So
Bless you.
yeah, it's an Eisbach lager. So for those that don't know, an Eisbach is essentially a Doppelbock, but that undergoes something called freeze distillation, which is where the wives' tale of this type of beer is that beer would freeze during the cool winters there. But what happens when it freezes is you actually end up concentrating a lot of the alcohol and a lot of the flavors, and that's kind of the traditional Eisbach. So basically a supercharged Bock with really concentrated flavors and really, really high ABV. So this one's 10%, which is actually on the lower end. A style can range all the way up to 14%. Some concentrate to 33%. So
Jesus.
you can get this beer up there. Pollyanna's out of Chicago, Illinois.
And I'm drinking Old Nations Brewery Oktoberfest. Ooh.
I can't remember if I've had Old Nation's Oktoberfest or not.
I haven't, so
All right.
first time I've seen it.
Well, we'll let you know how those are about halfway through the episode. We're going to do some news now.
News.
Thursday night football check-in. By the way, we are watching this as it goes. 7-3 Vikings in the second quarter after kind of a crazy start. So for those that are somehow uninitiated, you shouldn't be if you're listening to the show. Vikings-Eagles is the Thursday night game, so we won't be talking a whole lot about that. Let's go ahead and get into the news, starting off with the biggest news of Monday night.
Of everything.
Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles 5 plays into his Jets career.
4.
Well,
75
sorry.
seconds into it.
Sorry, that was a meme that I saw that said
I
five
know.
snaps in, fifth one being his Achilles. We don't make fun.
Oh,
We don't make fun of injuries here.
We do not.
Even with Aaron Rodgers, he's done for the year. Zach Wilson's going to resume starting duties. He led his team to a miraculous victory after coming off the bench.
Miraculous victory.
Miraculous.
What the hell?
What?
Sorry, just the game being drunk.
Okay.
Much like Zach Wilson was on Monday night after the game.
Oh, he was fine. The way that they were hating, the way Aikman was hating on him was totally undeserved.
I'm at this point, it's kind of a joke, but that touchdown throw to Garrett Wilson was
That was a great
Kinda
catch.
he get bailed out. Oofta.
He got bailed out. He put it a little
Oofta.
long, but Wilson made a great catch on that. Garrett did. But yeah, I mean, there are worse situations you could be in with a backup quarterback than Zach Wilson. I will say that.
I agree.
He
He
didn't
knows
look
the
that bad
offense.
either. And he didn't look bad. As bad
No.
as everyone
He didn't
thinks
look
is.
great. He didn't look bad. He looked like Zach Wilson. Like,
No,
he
He
looked
looked,
like
oh, yeah.
exactly
he looked-
what I expect him to look like.
He looked better than last year, though.
I mean, the Jets probably are to some degree hoping that, or not hoping, wishing they still had Mike White, but you know,
I've seen. I think it's been hysterical of all the veteran QBs being linked to the Jets now. Like someone wrote an article that there's potential talks to like Ben Roethlisberger coming back. I'm like, gee, like they're literally throwing any veteran
name out there,
there.
hoping it sticks. And the reality is that it's probably not going to be some big name coming back.
It's going to be a
for
backup.
this. They're going to
quarterback.
get.
It's going to
They're going to sign a backup that's better than Tim Boyle, and that they could rely on if Zach Wilson falters. It's not going to be some big name coming back. I mean, when you're thinking about this, think about guys like Joe Flacco. That's probably the area which you're going to end up.
They
Matt-
should trade for Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew in a trade, yeah. If Matt Ryan, who's not officially retired, would
No,
come back to
no,
be a backup,
no, we
but
don't
I don't
need to
think
see
that's
Matt
going to
Ryan again.
happen. So, impacts of this, expect the Jets to be more run heavy. Breece Hall looked really, really good in his return in limited work. Dalvin Cook seemed to be fine. You're going to temper your expectations on Garrett Wilson here. Alan Lazard, actually, you're going to temper that, and you're going to roll with it, and we'll see what happens. The problem here is that Nathaniel Hackett isn't a good OC either. He just works with Aaron Rodgers because he's just like, okay, Aaron, do what you want. So that's why he's there. So this is going to be a problem, but temper your expectations. Wilson, Garrett will be fine. Dak will have streamable weeks, and expect a lot out of the running game. I mean, the defense is this team's bread and butter. That team's bread and butter anyway. So
Yeah, it's not going to be great. It's not going to be great for fantasy. Obviously, as you mentioned, Garrett Wilson's the only viable option here for the receivers. Obviously, Breece, once I'm told he's not even 100%, and he looked
amazing,
fantastic. Like he would have housed.
Oh my God.
He would have housed at 83-yarder had he been 100%, no doubt, easily. And the fact if Garrett Wilson didn't celebrate before his block, also, but we won't talk about that. The Jets can't.
Weirdly, we're
on their-
talking about this, and there's a Ryan Fitzpatrick commercial on.
I know. Beautiful. The Jets are in a really, great position taking on that win from Buffalo. Obviously, the team that won the division the last couple of years. An important game in hand to have. I've been thinking about how the Jets are going to handle this situation, and I think we won't know obviously with this week. I know it's week 1, but this is such a competitive division and conference that you can't even take even these early games for granted.
And thank Jordan Whitehead being a thorn in Josh Allen's side for that one.
Allen reverting back to what Allen's been.
There were two arm punts, and then one really bad one.
And this isn't really dunking on Allen. Like this is, you have to live and die by the type of quarterback Allen is. And this again just goes to show that Buffalo needs to find, more compliments as pass catchers out there too.
No,
Um,
I agree with that. I mean, outside of Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, you're a little thin. So
You mean outside of Diggs, you are extremely thin.
Yeah, and it shows.
With all the yeah.
both tight ends.
You think I was gonna give Gabe Davis praise? No.
Both tight ends did mix in pretty nicely, though.
Yes,
I will
yes.
say that.
And-
I mean, that's what you're worried about if you were expecting a Kincaid year one breakout. But both tight ends did mix in pretty nicely and had some value.
Not like we had any
And-
good tight ends this week in general. So
No, if your name was Hayden Hurst and you didn't do good.
I think he was the
No.
one that scored a touchdown, and then he threw Bryce Young's football into the stands.
You got it back.
It's just like, what are we doing here?
Live man gave it back.
Week
But
one, you're drunk.
Yeah, well, and you had to the two highly drafted tight ends go inactive in week one.
Yes.
So if you paid up for
They had the
Andrews
same
and
amount of fantasy points
Kelsey,
I
you
did.
just got nothing. Yeah.
Jesus, I love it.
The other torn Achilles, because somehow it's Achilles now and not ACLs. J.K. Dobbins tore his Achilles. He's going to miss the rest of the season. So you expect the Ravens to, first off, sucks for Dobbins.
Oh, I feel horrible
Dude,
for
oh,
Dobbins.
big time.
He has produced when he's been healthy. This is a hard injury to come back from. This is why running backs do what they do to try to get multiple years, right? Because this is like the worst case scenario.
And this was his contract year.
Yep.
Obviously recovering from the ACL injury from a couple years ago. I don't think his career's done, but I think best case scenario
It's
is
gonna
going to be
uphill.
he's Deonta Foreman. Like he's going to
Yeah.
have to try to
Yeah.
betting on Dobbins is going to be very, very difficult from a dynasty standpoint, just given the history of his Achilles injuries. I know he's young, but
Yeah.
it's just also team. What team's going to give him that? It's going to take at least a year. Like we've seen how long it takes for players just to get their burst back. They're on the field and they're playing, but they're not explosive anymore. And that's what Dobbins lived off of.
Yeah.
His
All right, so this is-
ability in space.
So this is gonna be the biggest question. So people are gonna have, redraft. He's done. We're dropping him. We're moving on from him.
Yeah.
Dynasty. What are you doing with him?
You're stashing him. You're throwing him on IR.
You're
not
praying to
thinking
God
about
someone
it,
gives you a third
and
round pick for him.
You're
and then
waiting to see
trade
what,
him.
yeah, or that. But I mean, I'm stashing him on IR, and I'm waiting to see what happens in the offseason because he's talented enough to where I don't think that hype's gonna be murdered should he land elsewhere. But
I
it's
just-
tough. Somebody
yeah.
will bet on it though.
that's what I'm saying. Like you don't the only time you drop him is if you play in super shallow dynasty league, small bench, and
Right.
you don't have an IR spot. Like
if you do
like
that,
you don't have
what
an
are
IR
you
spot that's
doing?
free. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's I'm not as optimistic. I like Dobbins. The history, of these Achilles injuries, how long it takes for these players to get back to full explosiveness and be able to do what they need to do. It takes multiple years. Like I said, I think best case scenario is Deonta Foreman, and I'd be happy with that. Especially Dobbins just being able to have a longer career, but it could be like Marlon Back. Maybe he gets lucky like Cam Akers, but Akers tore his Achilles his second year, going into a second year, not in his contract year. So it's
Yeah. So
And
I
makes
feel
him year to
horrible
have to
for
bounce
him, but I'm
back.
just being honest. It's just I don't.
Yeah.
I'm trying to flip him. I like
well, and Cam Akers
I
doesn't
wouldn't be
exactly
out there
bounce
trying to trick-
back. So
exactly, and it's just it sucks, and I hope
It
I'm
does
wrong.
suck.
100% hope I'm wrong. I'm a numbers person, and I
now,
don't trust this.
now for redraft, obviously everyone was running for Justice Hill. I would just implore you that
Gus Edwards.
the Ravens are going to go hot hand Gus Edwards, and they're also going to promote Melvin Gordon in deeper leagues. So just
Justice Hill was just a lighter Cam Akers. He also looked pretty bad.
yeah. So I mean, get one of them if you need running back help. You turn them if nothing comes out of it, but get one of them. Obviously, Justice Hill's who everybody ran for. Gus Edwards in a lot of dynasty leagues is going to be rostered, and redraft
Yeah,
might be available. Melvin Gordon's going to be the forgotten one. Why not? Right? It's a veteran
No,
presence.
Got nothing to
I
lose.
agree with you.
We've
I agree
seen
with
guys get second wins in that Baltimore running game before. Just why not?
you. I agree.
So, okay. Anything else on Dobbins?
No.
All right, Puka Nakua. Huge
Injury
game
report.
and newly questionable as of Thursday with an oblique injury, not practicing. So if you went out
Overhyped.
like I did and spent some fab on Puka Nakua, then you got a problem there. I had 15 targets ain't overhyped, man. You get 15 targets and Cooper Kupp's out for an undisclosed amount of time and they need somebody sorry, you run at that. But, it wasn't a great matchup for him this week anyway, but now I doubt he even plays with a late week missing practice level injury.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you hope he sits and gets healthy. Obviously, the Rams really need their wide receiver 1 right now with their wide receiver 2 in IR. So
Yeah.
seeing that joke, and I've seen that floating around now too.
That's silly. But
Yeah.
I mean, here's the other thing, right? I'm guilty of not doing my homework on Nakua. He is a big dude that was relatively athletic. We've seen the Rams support multiple receivers before, so if he could string together some good games, then, who knows, right? I mean, we've seen the Rams do it with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, or Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, and then Brandon Cooks and Cooper Kupp, where they can support two in that offensive scheme, especially because they don't throw to tight ends or anybody else. But he's got the size and the makeup to do that and to be a compliment to that. But you got to be healthy. So I highly doubt Thursday was just a rest day, right? So
Yeah. Plus, we have a lot of 1 week wonders, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's just a 1 week wonder.
Tutu Atwell's your 1 week wonder out of that game.
I wouldn't exactly run with that.
All right, we got a question. Anyways,
All right.
Travis Unlimited wants to know, like Ryan, he's a Lions fan.
Hello, Travis. We're not.
He thinks he's blinded by bias,
Okay.
but he wants to trade ETN for Amon-Ra St. Brown. He also has Austin Eckler, Kenneth Walker, and I can think we all can say in unison, trade for Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
All day,
Yes.
every day, twice on Sunday, 3 times on Tuesday.
Running
It's
backs are
just-
volatile. Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to be locked in easily as a top.
If you could pull this
170
off,
wide receiver,
I don't think the
yeah.
other person accepts this, but if you
If
can,
they do,
if it
do
was me, I would be like, no. But if you can pull this off, absolutely. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Amon-Ra
Absolutely.
it's a smash. ETN is great, he's fine, but as Hopper mentioned,
Running backs are volatile.
volatile, as we just saw, anything and everything can happen to him. Amon-Ra is the Lions offense, is the Lions passing game for sure. So
Yep.
yes.
All right. And Ryan, we could debate Puka Nakua. The fact is we got one game worth of material to use here. So let's just roll with it and
Right.
see what happens.
Let Hopper have fun, Ryan. Come
let's
on.
just roll with it and see what
Uh,
happens.
Don't we remember? What was that one Jaguars receiver who had a kick-ass week? It was
Keelan Cole?
week
Yeah.
one.
We all go.
Hearns?
No, it was before Keelan Cole.
Well, Alan Hearns had a really good season, and that was it. It wasn't just 1 week.
It was like
That
a
was 1
random.
week.
It was like his name completely disappeared afterwards. We're all trying to chase the next
You're all chasing
the old
it, right?
Cowboys receivers, the old Cowboys receiver.
Oh
that
yeah,
did
the one that.
this.
Yeah, he did it week one also.
Miles Austin. Yeah,
Miles
we're all
Austin.
trying to.
Well,
we're hoping to find a Miles Austin here. Or
yeah,
Justin Forsett.
and you hope you find a 1 year wonder instead of like Alan Hearns, Keelan Cole back half the season, guys like that, versus a 1 game wonder. And the fact is that Cooper Kupp's missing time. What are you looking for in week 1? Where's the target volume? Okay, you get 15
How
targets.
much did you spend on
to-
Fab on him, Hopper? How much Fab did you throw on him?
Don't
Percentage
remember.
standpoint, if you can, yeah. Because I think you
Go
should.
Lions.
What percentage are
just-
you comfortable with? And I'll look it up.
I would be no more than 15.
All right, hold on.
Oh my god, I saw him go for 51.
I mean, like, yeah.
Jesus.
It was
And that's
frickin'
the
nuts.
thing. It's that's like unless you plan on trying to move him after he
Didn't
had other good weeks after before Cup comes back, but 15% would be where I'm comfortable with him.
So didn't Sleeper put something in here where you can see?
Whatever your Fab budget is, and just obviously,
Well, no, where you can see his availability and other. Yeah, okay, I found
Yeah.
it. Hold on. So
'Cause, I mean, I even took it to Twitter where like people spent as little as $10, and then a lot of them spent 100 on it, like all of it on Puka Nakua, and I'm like, it just seems, I couldn't do it. I could see like in the like a rotisserie of like where it's like random order.
I got him in
Uh,
one. I got him in one league, and
I didn't even bid at him. That's how much I did not want him.
I mean, I have 3 bids. Like, I agree with Hopper. Like,
you throw bids, yeah.
I'll chase the targets if I don't have to spend up. The better question would be this, Ryan and Hopper, is if you're not playing in Fab, which you should if you're not, and you're using waiver claims. Now, waiver claims that reset every week based off standings, yes, I use it on them because you're
I got him for 5%.
resets.
5%.
Perfect. That's it. Absolutely.
That's nothing.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely what you want to do.
Yeah.
But if you had waiver claims that didn't reset, touchdown Justin Jefferson. Oh, he fumbled out of the end zone, I think, actually.
Oh,
This looks really awkward. This looks okay. The season at the 1. Sorry. Waiver claims that don't reset every week, I would be hesitant to use it on him, or even Kyron Williams, as I'm sure we'll get to as well.
Yeah.
There's Nakua's got there's upside to it, obviously, especially short term.
he injured his oblique, so
It's an oblique,
Nice.
yeah, and that's for. I mean,
Oh boy.
yeah, a wide receiver probably more so than like a quarterback. That might be okay, but
no, because
It's
when
tough.
you're doing you do up this extending,
yeah, it's
really
going to be a
feel
range
it.
of
You
motion
really
and a
feel it.
pain thing.
yeah,
He totally fumbled through the end zone. I'm sorry. This
That's okay. You're distracted. I
It's okay.
understand.
unlike me,
Um,
you're actually here. So last week I wasn't.
he totally fumbled through the end zone. God damn it.
I'm watching now. Let's see.
Is it a safety?
It should be.
Or did
I don't
he,
have sound on, obviously.
or did he
but
fumble out at the 1?
I can't tell.
The angle
The
angle I just got wasn't good. I got the side.
so they ruled him down at the 1.
I got the
but
sideline angle. I can't tell
Is
if
it
he
challenge
fumbled
flag?
over the pylon or not.
No, because it's under 2 minutes, so it's obviously automatically overviewed. I think it's fumbled through the end zone personally, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, you're going to timeout, but yeah.
Anyway, yeah. No, I actually think that fumbled out at the 1. Or he
I hope
was
so.
down. I don't think
they
that
ruled
went
him out at the
zone.
1, but it's the camera angles that aren't
The
doing it justice.
ball's
So
out. Yeah, I don't know. That he either fumbled just inside of the pylon or out at the 1. It's a fumble for sure. Ball's out before.
oh
he's
yeah.
down.
Yeah. But either way, we can
We can move on.
We can
I
move
think
on.
he fumbled out of the end
Yeah.
zone. I think you're right.
yeah, I think he fumbled out of the end zone.
Aaron Jones, Christian Watson, both not practicing with hamstring injuries. Aaron Jones, as you saw, if you watched the Bears game on Sunday, pulled up after a touchdown run. Christian Watson still not practicing after missing most of last week. Expect both these guys to not play. A.J. Dillon's a direct handcuff to Aaron Jones. That's probably all you're interested in there. Anything on that?
No interest in the Romeo Dobbs 2 touchdowns again,
No.
or is that just more of the Bears' bad
It's
defense?
more of the Bears sucking.
Yeah,
That was I felt bad after watching the Vikings game for how poor they played, but man, like I was with
laughed.
Chicago. I know you did, right?
Well,
I was
Baker
with-
Mayfield.
It's like fuck Green Bay. I'm in on it, and
Well,
then to see one of the worst like called games I've ever seen. That's
Yeah.
rough for me.
yeah, I'm not interested in Dobbs 4 for 26 and 2.
Thanks, Rocky. Says he loves our show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rocky. Appreciate you.
Hell, what was I going to say? 10% beer, man. Oh, this is also my 4th one of the night. Not of
It
these.
is an ice box, dude. It's an ice. Yeah,
Not,
they're all
not of these.
they're all
but,
very very high ABV beers.
They are. I
as
just,
you know. As you know. Yeah.
yeah, I didn't think about that. Anyway, we'll
Was
move
it getting
on.
colder
Maybe
down
they'll
there,
Come
so-
back.
Here comes the call.
Damn, it took him that long.
Over the pylon, out of the end zone.
There you go. Touchback.
Dude, that's 3 turnovers, Minnesota. For fuck's sake.
Jerry Jeudy, full participant in practice. He's set to make his return. Austin Eckler is not practicing with an ankle injury. Joshua Kelly actually looked pretty good on his 16 carries for 91. And, I mean, Seahawks defense, but
And he also split the carries. It was just an even split, 16-16 with Austin Eckler. So that's a good thing to look at.
The thing to
Plus
keep an
Austin
eye
Eckler
on,
being injured.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly should
With
be
Miami
Miami
against Miami.
right,
Yeah,
against
I was
Miami, sorry.
yeah. No, you're good. You're
But,
good.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, Ryan. Joshua Kelly should be rostered at this point. That's how they want to run this and try to protect Eckler's volume and everything. Is if he's going to get 16 carries and you're going to roll with it. And
He's the one I bid for in all my waivers.
I got a different guy that I bid for on a few places too. Dan will love it. Kyron Williams. We'll talk about him later.
I teed it up for you. It's fine.
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah. We
yeah.
can.
DeAndre Hopkins has missed 2 straight days of practice with an ankle injury, so he actually had 13 targets, which I was not expecting. So he may actually end up with his normal target volume, even though production wasn't necessarily there. But this could be a veteran thing. He doesn't necessarily need to practice, but at the same time, like anybody that's veteran, off days are normally Wednesdays, not Thursdays. You don't practice on Wednesday and you're a vet, I don't care. If you don't practice on Thursday, I'm a little concerned. So watch that tomorrow, basically.
Yeah, and he's been historically, especially the last few years, he doesn't practice. Like he historically does not. He doesn't practice as often as I think most do. So
right.
I would obviously, as you said, keep an eye on it for tomorrow, but I fully expect him to play.
So this next note involves another guy that I was hot on my waiver wire. We'll get there, though. Steelers say Deontay Johnson could miss close to 4 weeks with a hamstring injury. Deontay Johnson says he's day-to-day, so depending on who you believe. But Allen Robinson pulling 8 targets for 60 yards with Deontay set to miss time is not something that I hate. So, in really, there are a couple of places where waivers ran and he was still out there, so I just went and threw a turn spot on him. Like,
yeah, might as well.
You might as well if he's got a history, and if he's going to get 8+ targets in volume, then the way injuries are happening, the way they some guys like Brandon Cooks, for example, came out kind of flat to start the season, then why not? It's kind of what you're looking for. And if he's consistently that, then it's a fine depth piece to have. So that's kind of what you're looking for. Don't always look for the high performer. I mean, Allen Robinson wasn't registering as somebody that went out and like, oh my God, I'm running to my waiver wires because he had 2 touchdowns or split carries, and we didn't expect that. But that's a pretty nice day when you're going, 8 targets, 6 receptions, and 60 yards or whatever it was. So,
yep,
especially in PPR.
Exactly.
But yeah, Deontay Johnson's probably going to miss time. I believe the Steelers more than I believe Deontay Johnson.
It's
Steelers
so hard.
1. Yes.
It's like, could it be 2 weeks? Could it be 3 weeks? Is it really 4 weeks?
They didn't put him on IR, so I'm thinking my gut says 3. So
yeah,
because the Steelers' statement was it could be up to 4 weeks, but they didn't put him on IR. So that kind of tells me we're probably looking closer to 3. Yeah. He's feeling better, maybe 2, but they might protect it. Greg Dulcich is not practicing hamstring injury. He's expected to miss time. Adam Troutman is his backup. Once again, my public service announcement on backup tight ends: don't go run out and pick up immediate backups for a guy that you thought was going to be productive because they'll just go away from the position.
Actually, you had it backwards. Adam Troutman was the starter, and Dulcich is the backup.
Sean Payton has he has an infatuation
with Adam Troutman.
With good old Captain America. For those of you that don't know, Player Profiler for a long time had a picture of Captain America for Adam Troutman. So
still,
I have no clue. I haven't looked at it in a while, but they have an affinity. They fucking love Troutman. By they, I mean Sean Payton.
But I mean, Sean Payton getting Adam Troutman, it wasn't just Adam Troutman. I mean, look how many other ex-Saints are there. Will Lutz, little Jordan Humphreys. It's like, who else is going to show up?
Little Jordan got activated. Little Jordan got activated.
Got a touchdown. He got a touchdown too. Yeah, our boy. Oh, we loved him, man. And then he had one of the worst.
Then he ran a 4.7 combine.
Oh God, it was so bad. It was. I was like, all right, well, I guess we don't like this Texas guy.
No, I loved this film.
Oh, we loved him, man.
He was great until he tested athletically.
It was great until he solidified his 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Till he Kyron Williams himself.
Oh God.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. Kyron Williams. Ooh.
We'll get there. Yeah, Kenneth Gainwell's missing week 2. You already know that, I hope. Otherwise, too late.
You can watch.
Yeah, DJ Chark returned to practice after missing week 1. Targets were pretty split in week 1 for Panthers wide receivers. I believe Hayden Hurst led the team in targets and receiving. Other guys were not far behind. Mingo and Marshall, for example. So just something to watch with Chark returning. Still waiting for something to shake out there. Panthers will also be without cornerback J.C. Horn. He's going to miss extended time with a hamstring injury. This is normally don't talk defense. J.C. Horn is a really, really good cornerback, and missing J.C. Horn for the Panthers actually opens things up quite a bit because there's not a lot of depth behind. So it's good news for the Saints this week, especially with their offense looking competent with Derek Carr at the helm.
Did they look competent
More
against Tennessee?
Competent in comparison to what
I
they
mean,
looked like last
so
year. It's a curve.
I'm not sure. And I say this not just tongue in cheek. I don't know if you're aware of this, but DirecTV and CBS are in contract disputes. So none of the bars in town here had any games that were nationally broadcasted on CBS.
Nice.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first year where the TVs can decide who gets what for games, the Vikings game was supposed to be the national broadcast on CBS. We didn't get to watch at the bar that we watched our games at. So
and
we didn't get to watch the Saints game either because the Saints game wasn't on there.
And
either.
also with Sunday Ticket going to YouTube TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jake Elliott hit a 61-yard field goal.
Yeah.
The Eagles can't pass to save their life today besides that one throw, but the running game's getting them in there. But yeah.
Yep.
3 turnovers and 3 points is unbelievable. Vikings are, as Hopper said before the show started, extremely lucky to only give up 3 points on 3 turnovers.
Yep.
Yeah. Solid defense.
Kelsey and Andrews are both back at practice. Jacoby Myers is still in concussion protocol following a massive week 1 performance. And it already hit. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, he's not probably not going to play.
Probably not going to play. No.
Hedge my bet on that.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. So that sucks because he actually
does.
looks a lot better than I anticipated he was going to.
It's like they gave him all that money and they decided to use him.
They did, and he looked good.
That's why
He
I was a
looked
big
good.
fan of Myers this year. I got him cheap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad. And now I'm sad because serve me.
Now it's gonna be Hunter Renfro.
Well, at least it's just. I don't want to say
right.
just a concussion, but at least as far as long-term productivity goes, it's not a soft tissue issue. So there's that.
True. That's true.
Feel good story of the week. Tariq Cohen is re-entering the NFL, signing with the Panthers practice squad. So he'll
Good for
start
him.
his comeback journey. Good for him if you followed that. And for the Colts and their running back watch, Evan Hull to IR, Zach Moss to return. Jake Funk has been promoted. So a little
The
bit
Funk
of a
is here.
rotating there. Deion Jackson, I believe, dominated in touches, but looked terrible doing it. So this is wide open. Go look at Jake Funk's player profiler page if you're not initiated. He's actually pretty freaking athletic. He was an older draft pick, but he's pretty freaking athletic. So.
Yeah,
I'm
Deion
just waiting
Jackson's
for that
done.
to hit.
It's Zach Moss until Jonathan Taylor gets back, I feel.
It's
Zach
literally
Moss also
nothing because Zach
sucks,
Moss
so-
also fucking sucks. This is like Buffalo again, where Zach
But
Moss
worse.
sucks so much. Deion Jackson's the new Devin Singletary. But quickly do we know that Deion Jackson also sucks. So Zach Moss just remains Zach Moss.
Yep.
Mind blown.
All right. And I don't think I missed anything in the news. So, week 1 recap. So, what we're supposed to do here is pick one thing a piece to highlight from a previous week. I don't know if you guys did that or not. I got, so I'm going to just go ahead and start. And then if you did, great.
I got one thing.
Okay. So, my biggest thing from week 1 is the number of things that I was surprised by, which is not Kyron Williams. Kyron Williams, there was enough smoke there where I'm like, okay, I'm not surprised by that. But the surprises from week 1, I just kind of want to run through a few of them, kind of see what surprised you guys the most and where you land on, which one of these things is like something that you expect to maybe continue. Which one are you buying the most? So a couple of things that shocked me. Josh Kelly seeing 17 carries for 91 yards and actually having split usage. Tyler Algier seeing the amount of carries he did. going for 78 and 2 touchdowns. Even with the high pick on Bijan, he looked like a usable piece, and as long as he does that, lower than expected Gibbs usage, 15 Puka Nacua targets, Tutu Atwell clearing 100 yards, Ridley coming back after 2 years with no rust and actually looking really, really good. Michael Pittman hit double digits in targets with a run-first quarterback, something he struggled to do last year. Jacoby Myers with a massively hot start before getting concussed. Zay Flowers being heavily involved right from the get-go. What surprised you guys the most about week one, and kind of what performance are you buying the most out of these week one guys? What are you willing to chase?
Josh Kelly, the one I think Brian brought it up as the guy he's been targeting. Austin Eckler has said it for the last couple of years. He does not want to reach 300 plus touches. That's not his game. He does not want to be his game. He wants to be able to play longer and be effective with the touches that he gets. Of course, while saying that, now he's not practicing. So, Kelly was, 4th round pick from a few years back. Hasn't quite found his footing yet, but if the offense under Kellen Moore now is going to help unlock his skill set, only one target. So that's it. The unhopeful downfall is he's going to make up his production on the ground because there's going to be 0 receiving. If Eckler is to miss time, I guess we'll see. Kelly did have a pass catching profile coming out of UCLA. But yeah, he's the one. Right? It's the offense you want to target. High volume, should be high scoring. And if he's going to look efficient like he did, I'm buying that. And that's the guy, as Ryan mentioned, that's the guy I want to chase, not the 5'8", 175-pound Kieran Williams. Josh Kelly.
Another one I want to chase is Bijan Robinson, just because I don't see Tyler Algier doing this every freaking week.
No,
Algier is going to be. He's involved,
and it's the same point with Bijan it is for Gibbs, right? They're starting him slow. They're going to work him in more as you go, and you will see that get cut into. But as long as Montgomery and Algier are effective, they're going to hold on to a role. I agree. I don't think he obviously it's safe to say he's not going to go for, 2 touchdowns, 15 touches. Like, he's not going to go for 15, 75, and 2 every week, right?
It's going to flip-flop eventually.
It will. It will. You're absolutely right. But early season, sure. I mean, most leagues I was in, people actually seemed to buy what Atlanta was selling, that he was going to be involved early. I don't think he was available in a lot of places, but yeah,
it was a late round. I think the flex role stays. This is Arthur Smith. This is a man that wants to give his running backs, not just Bijan, like, they're gonna out touch. At, like, it's their game. It's on his, and they're in the NFC South, so it's not gonna be a high power division. They're not playing against high powered teams. So if they run their game, control the clock, do what they did against the Panthers, which, let's face it, the NFC South doesn't have one team that wants to push pace. Like, Algier's got flex value moving forward, and then if something happens to Bijan,
I just understand why don't they just run the Wildcat, because they don't want to throw it anymore, because it doesn't make sense. I mean,
they only threw the ball 18 times, and that
was worse than last year. That was worse than last year.
And that's one of the other surprises too, right? Is you got a dud out of Drake London, like, not just a bad performance, like a straight 0 out of Drake London. And
I'm not concerned about Higgins with this dud. The Bengals look.
No, I'm concerned about London though, because of how they want to run the offense. Yeah.
That's, like, again, probably the worst allocation of draft picks I've seen, like, outside of, like, Green Bay's run. It's why are you taking in the top 7 a freak tight end and a freak receiver, and then choosing to not get him involved in their offense? It's
right. Pitts too.
It's just It's fucking insane to me. Like, they won, that's great. They're gonna act like this is the right move, but it's for fantasy, we have to, obviously, as you guys mentioned, we have to take this into context moving forward as a low volume that's even lower than I expected. Like, I thought they'd throw a little bit more, but
yeah, it'll be interesting to watch to see if that increases in negative game scripts. But yeah,
no, let's run the ball even more.
Right.
Depends who they play. Like
Depends
they're
on
gonna
who they play.
It's gonna be they have the right division to make this happen far more than we wanted to.
Yeah.
And then they'll be dumb enough to pick up both fifth-year options on Pitts in London too.
Yeah.
We're all praying
to
that
fuck
they
with us.
trade Pitts. For the love of God, please trade Pitts. Trade him to Kansas City. Like
Yeah.
there you go. Here's your Travis Kelce replacement.
I think the surprises I'm most willing to buy are going to be Ridley's performance coming back.
Mhm.
Supremely talented and a good scheme.
Great offense, too.
Yeah, good quarterback, good offense. So I totally buy into that. The fear was that there would be rust there, and how much was how that split between him and Christian Kirk, who are similar types of players, but that got answered real quick.
They got him involved right away. I think that's
did.
also important.
Yeah.
Like, they got his confidence and they got him in rhythm too. That was very smart on Doug Peterson's front, is to get really involved right away.
And the other piece I'm going to buy into, at least initially, is Jacoby Myers. Like you said, Dan, you pay him a bunch of money. He's back with an offensive coordinator that believed in him enough when he was drafted. With a quarterback that, well, I don't think they played together, but
No.
they missed each other. But in any event, like, that's harder to ignore. I mean, I know Devontae Adams is there and he's going to get his. That's the thing you worry about with Myers versus Ridley, who could just straight be the alpha. But I think that any fears about Myers being irrelevant because he lands in a similar role to Hunter Renfrow, you can probably put those to bed. It's not going to be that explosive every week. That upside was really surprising, but I expect that the floor you got used to in New England will potentially still be there.
I mean, he's, again, I've been preaching that at least the last couple of years. Like, you're targeting teams with the right division makeup to help these game script be pushed forward, right? Raiders have to throw the football to be able to keep up with the Chargers, the Chiefs. The Broncos probably not so much we saw, but even then it worked for them. And just the teams that to play with also within the AFC, it's like they paid him a bunch of money. He's paired back up with the coordinator that knows his game and a team that's going to throw a lot. And he was a double-digit round pick, and it was an easy smash every time. Like, it's just, hopefully he doesn't miss too many games. But yeah, I agree.
Indeed. All right. Dan, you said you had one.
It's so mine's not going to be about particular players. So this is about what we see almost. It happens every year, right? Overreaction. We talked about not overreacting last week to the previews. What do people do? We're going to overreact. We overreacted to the weirdness of week one. Like, undoubtedly, it was fucking weird.
This is literally my
week one.
This is literally my preview advice going into this week, which is don't chase points and don't tilt.
Yeah, it's literally this. It's, yes, we love seeing some of these players, come out, and yes, we love the late round flyer that we touted has a nice game. Like, that's good. I'm happy for you. Say your piece. Move the fuck on. Like, we have 16 more games, and we have yet to figure out who a lot of these teams are. In fact, we don't know who any of these teams are. It's don't overreact. Don't overdrop. Don't be the guy out there dropping Dallas Goedert because he had 0. Don't drop T. Higgins because he had 0 targets.
Don't
even drop Drake London because he had 0
Yeah.
targets. It's one of those situations where you're going to find it. It won't happen as much in your hyper competitive leagues, but in your home leagues, take advantage of that if that happens. But don't be that person. Don't be the person that thinks because Drake London had 0 targets, or 0 catches, and they threw the ball 18 times. That's going to be the norm every week. Like, adjust your expectation for the offense, but still know that this is that.
Know exactly when J.C. Horn got hurt, because that's the other piece there too, right? That's a tough matchup.
I think he's always hurt.
So good though, but yeah,
that's a tough matchup though. If he was playing the majority of the game, I don't know specifically when he went out, but
Ritter, and I don't expect Ritter to be aggressive. Like, it's
oh no, not at all.
They don't want him to be aggressive,
have
especially
to be.
when they're in the league.
He's literally like, Ritter is actually a really good comp to Ryan Tannehill.
like I love people's com stuff. He's Marcus Mariota and Alex Smith. He's game manager, quarterback with some mobility upside to him.
And that's exactly what Ryan Tannehill was for Arthur Smith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great comparison to draw. But yeah, I'm with you. That was actually my advice for going into this: is when you're setting
And don't blow all your
lineups,
fab. Like
don't chase points. Don't blow your full wad in week 1.
that is especially with fab it's a really good thing to have more money than everyone else when it comes to fab in those later weeks where those pickups mean a lot more. Like I know we want to chase some of these guys because it looks great now, and I'm like, oh, I can get Justin Forsett, or I can get the next Miles Austin. Like chances are these guys are going to bust and become nothing. Most times we're going to get Kyle Phillips.
Right. We had a great week 1 and has been on IR ever since.
I mean, I feel bad because he's been hurt, but he also.
And I loved him too coming out of college. I was like, oh man, Kyle Phillips is great.
I get it. It's your favorite late round flyer that hits, and then
but getting hurt
he comes a
doesn't
pumpkin again.
change my long-term outlook on somebody early
Well,
on. But
I'm
yeah.
But then
not
he started
talking about that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just,
He was doing good in
just for this
preseason.
year.
Like he was doing good in preseason, like definitely slot, and then gets injured. And I'm like, fuck,
yeah.
never gonna win.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Ryan,
That's,
you got anything from a recap for last week that you would like to discuss?
Jahmyr Gibbs, man, and the way he can break tackles, holy crap!
he should have scored,
Yeah.
man. He should have had the touchdown.
So
He
like,
overran himself.
his broken tackles were ridiculous. He has 6 broken tackles already just in one game, and I want to say Swift had 24,
Fumble.
and then
Another
Jamal
one?
Williams had 30.
4.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. So I say DeAndre Swift had 24, and then Jamal Williams had 30 all of last season, and Jahmyr Gibbs already up to 6. So it's
Isn't he supposed to run away from contact? Isn't that his whole field? Like, why are you running the contact?
He was
you
I'm
can't, you
kidding.
can't avoid it.
pretty fucking good
guys,
too.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I watched him spin move 3 people out of their shoes. But
Yeah,
he is,
hit, and he hit him, and he hit him.
he hit him.
He's gonna have fun. It's
My
gonna
son's
be fun
obsessed with
for
him already. He wants.
I
My
mean,
son wants to be him now.
He should be obsessed with him.
Now, here's the other thing I want to say about Gibbs. The hot reaction after Thursday night was free Gibbs. Why is this happening? The Lions are idiots. You spend this high of a pick, you're not using him more. And my response to this is pretty simple. You got 1-for-1 replacements in Montgomery for Williams and Gibbs for Swift. If you expected
Montgomery's a definitely upgrade.
if you expected something different after they went out and paid Montgomery, you are you are not paying attention to the way they wanted to use their backs last year. Gibbs will see that touch count go up, right? He's gonna get more than 7 carries. He's gonna get targets. David Montgomery is not gonna end up completely phased out though. And if you were expecting something different, you were paying no attention to their offseason. You were paying no attention to how things went when Swift was healthy last year. You did not watch at all how this team wants to operate. And that's your own damn fault. That's not the fault of the Lions for not doing it. That's your own fault for not paying attention to them. This is why Dan faulted them for going up and spending a first-round pick on Jahmyr Gibbs. Is because of how they've used that type of player. You're spending that high for somebody that's going to be a role player. Like, that's why Dan was on their ass about it. Not because of the talent of Gibbs. This is how they want to run the offense, though. So if you're expecting Gibbs to take over as a bell cow, that's not going to happen. That's not how they run the offense, and that's not how he's built either.
No, the last thing you want to see is them getting 300 carries, at least for his long-term outlook.
No, I could see 150 for Gibbs, and
Yeah.
David Montgomery is going to be well over 200. So
and
it's going to be a whole scheme because, like you're already saying, Chris, they're going to inch him in more and more. So each week he's going to get more and more play. I mean, you can only do so much because you're already relying on Amon-Ra St. Brown. You have no Jameson Williams. You're trying to figure out how to get this offense rolling because, I mean, with the preseason, you might as well consider week 1 and week 2 the rest of the remaining preseason. These offenses are still trying to figure themselves out.
Yeah, they are.
So just be calm, We gotta just take it easy with it and just kind of understand what they're trying
You
to
know
do.
what the
and then go
Lions
from
should
there.
do? You know what the Lions should do? We should be on the phone with Tampa Bay about Mike Evans. They need a vertical threat. Jameson's suspended. I'm not obviously writing the books off on him, but this is clearly will be a playoff team
It's actually
that clearly
not-
needs something vertical.
They got
Evans
Josh
obviously
Reynolds.
something vertical.
Josh Reynolds isn't vertical. We'll talk Reynolds here in a second, though. But
It's frustrating how much praise that team has gotten, and there's just some of the little things. Some of like the first round draft this year for them, very questionable. I've not been shy of that, but the wide receiving core, like this team could be like perfect for what they need. It's someone that can attack vertically and win, and trying to make a move for a guy like Evans would be. It sucks that Tampa Bay lost. It might make it a little harder for them to do that. But fuck, he doesn't even want to be there in the first place. They won't give him his goddamn money.
Tampa Bay won, right?
Yeah, it'd be Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said Tampa Bay.
it-
Okay, so you said it back.
Yeah, I'm saying it because they won. They
Yeah,
might not
because
be
they
inclined,
won.
but yeah, it's that was a move I've been thinking about all off season. Had they made that move, it's not going to cost them a first. I don't even know if it would cost them a second or third, but
Mhm.
that I would love that. Not maybe more so for him, but for his role and to help be a mentor for Williams. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
it happen.
Yep. Be interesting to watch as we get close to the trade deadline. Lions could definitely be looking. But I'm with you on that. All right. Anything else?
Garrett Wilson.
yeah.
Yeah.
That costs a little bit more than
see
what they
that
have.
happen. And I was kind of
That'd be great though. It'd be fun though.
Depth charts for options though, and yeah, I mean that one actually makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. That'll
I think he did.
It'd be
He
a
already
lot
signed
good.
last year, right? I think he got
Did
his
he?
contract
Oh yeah, he
last
did.
year.
But it's affordable. Yeah. Huh.
Just some food for thought.
There's some
Things
to
that
think about.
I wouldn't be surprised if Detroit does if they can't get what they want out of Jameson.
Yeah.
We'll get Brandon Ayuk maybe.
You can, guy, what a great game too.
Right?
Yeah, but San Francisco isn't going to fade hard enough, I don't think, for that to be a reality.
No.
He's taking over as the one this year too. By the way, Ayuk is
Called
like I'm a full believer in that. People were on it last year, and it started to happen about middle of last year. So
Remember that time where he was in the doghouse? That was a
it was a
great
good
time to be alive.
I enjoyed it. All right, beer review. Anything else on week 1 before we go to week 2?
No.
Great.
Beer review.
All right, one of y'all can start. Dan, you can start. I've had pumpkin smash. What are you drinking? Pumpkin smasher?
I'm drinking New Holland's Ichabod.
Oh, Ichabod. Okay. Yeah, why don't you go
Pumpkin
ahead and
ale.
start, because I've had that beer before. I'm interested in what Ryan has to say about the Old Nation, but I have to piss. So,
Yeah. Again, this is just a pumpkin ale. So ale with spices inspired to give off pumpkin flavors, cinnamon. Drawing blanks of other ones that are generally used in this. But I've drank through 2 of these because I got home early and started watching the game. I'm gonna need more after this shit show that they're putting on now. But just a great representation of the pumpkin style. Not overly heavy when it comes to the spices that are being used. That and generally not as heavy of an alcohol percentage as most pumpkin beers are. This one only clocks in at 4.5%. A lot of pumpkin beers like the range that 8 plus range, which is just insane. So one that is crushable, one that allows you to enjoy the pumpkin flavor while also not overindulging in it. It's a really good option, and no wonder why this one's touted as one of the better ones.
sorry, the can is actually very similar to Pumpkin Smasher. If you look at the pattern on the front of it.
Yeah. Also, isn't pumpkin smasher in bottles, right?
It comes in bottles, but the label is really
okay.
similar.
Yeah.
the orange on the red with the shape of it and everything. It's real similar.
Yeah. Yep.
Ryan?
So I had Old Nations Brewing Oktoberfest, and it comes in 5.7, which I thought was kind of high because there aren't most like of your Oktoberfest like 4.5, 4.6, 4.7 ish range.
No, I'll get you what the actual. No, I'll get you what the range is here in just a second. I mean, yes, but I think they can range up to high fives. What'd you say that one is?
5.7,
5.7. That does seem a touch high.
right? That's what I thought.
Because the idea of Oktoberfest, because they're festival beers, is that they're supposed to be crushable, which usually you want lower ABV. The styles, okay, so no, the style for Martin is 5.6 to 6.3, so it's right there.
Yeah, and which is what this exactly is, a Martin. And like it definitely had like a nice head onto it. Like it came up very thick, very heavy. You can actually smell the aromas of it, and you can kind of smell like a nutty type of sweet honey type of smell to it too. And actually it tastes like good and crisp too, where it's like where you said about the whole smashing thing. Like I could smash this right now, but it's just like it doesn't hurt or anything. It's very smooth. And the sweetness like kind of gives like a balance with the hops that are added into it.
Oh,
That makes sense.
Hearing him describe that sounds like it's a really fucking good one.
Dude, I really like it actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a fan of honey, but like this honey I actually like because it's like the sweetness of it is mellowed out.
Yeah, so in a lot of German beers, there's a process called a double decoction mash or a decoction mash, depending on how much they want to extract. And what you end up with is something called melanoidins, and those actually give beer a really, really like rich kind of sweet characteristic, which is reminiscent of mellowed out honey. That's where some Oktoberfest get their kind of their caramely type of characteristic, but that richness you get out of it is actually part of brewing technique. So, like, I love to hear that. Let's see if I stumble into some. We get some Old Nation distribution over here, just not a bunch of it.
Yeah,
we
like
don't see enough.
It hits first, like you're like, oh man, this is great. Like, and then it just goes down smooth, and it's like it's not overbearing after that. Or you're like, oh my god, and then that's where the smashing side of it comes in, even though it's at 5.7.
Yeah. See if I can find some of that. All right.
We got a question
before
before
I do my
jump
beer.
into yours. Yeah. Isaiah wants to know, should I trade Calvin Ridley and Lamar Jackson for Stephon Diggs? I don't got more context than that. You're obviously not making this trade in super flex leagues. So I'm going off the idea of
Single
basic scoring
quarterback.
settings, single QB, PPR.
It still might be a no on that.
Yeah, I still want more because I think Calvin Ridley is going to smash again this week, and then I feel like you'd be able to get even more from him than that because he's eventually going to start slowing down.
I think
feel like he's going to have a matchup.
Is that if he's the true one in that offense, right? The difference of him and Jackson versus Diggs, I mean, that's. I
think you should aim higher if you're looking to try to move off release. Jamar Chase would be and to be dead serious, like Chase, the Bengals coming off of a really bad week. Obviously if the guy has Jamar Chase, then you won't do it. But I think Chase is the ideal target. That I think if you're gonna try to upgrade from Ridley using your quarterback, which I'm assuming then you have a good second QB, like I know we can stream quarterbacks. Lamar's coming off of a pretty bad week himself, like all the starting quarterbacks, if it felt like in week one. But
a lot of them, yeah. There are only 5 of them or so that actually had decent weeks.
I agree with you. Just Jacksonville's offense should be very explosive.
And if Ridley,
Buffalo Diggs will get his own too, right? There's
a lot of separation between those two. At least based on what we saw in week 1. I mean, Ridley hasn't played in 2 years, but if it continues that way, I don't know that there's enough separation there for me to want to include Jackson in a deal like that.
It's an upgrade from Calvin for sure, just given the history, what we know about Diggs, and trying to capitalize off of a big game from Ridley, who could also fall back down to earth. I was high on Ridley coming into this season.
We were high on him going into the season when all the bullshit happened too.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I was high on Jacksonville's offense. They were my hot take. Dark horse, number one seed in the AFC. I bought into Jacksonville. I don't know if I'm ready to offload him for Diggs. If I can get Chase, if I can get CeeDee Lamb, potentially, like I want someone that's going to draw me a lot of targets. I know Diggs will too, but I don't know. It might not end up being the right call, but
I think
I think no. I would not move him for Diggs.
for me to sum it up, I'm also on the no side of this. If you firmly believe in Diggs as being that much better of an asset than what Ridley is, then I don't think the value's that far off necessarily, but personal preference, I don't think I would do it.
Ryan, where are you at?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Cause I still think you can get.
Does it matter
Better,
who
like you
his
said,
other
better.
quarterback is? Does it matter who his other quarterback is in this case?
It matters who is it, one QB or two?
Yeah.
I'm assuming this is
But-
not super flex. So I'm assuming in a 1 QB league, which is I'm going off assumptions because this is
Well, if it's not super
a huge
flex,
no.
then no, because you shouldn't have another quarterback unless it's
Well, I mean,
dynasty.
unless you went,
that's
like,
why
say,
I'm
like,
asking the question. Yes.
like if you have Anthony Richardson, then like yeah, I'd be like okay, I'd be willing to move off of this just
Oh,
to see
God.
what happens.
I wanted a victory lap. That's so fucking hard. I was
Yeah.
like, nope, Dan, nope.
You got to have at least 3 weeks for a victory lap.
Like, give me some time. It was against Jacksonville. They kept up. It was good.
Or if
We'll
say
see
your
against
quarterback like
We'll see what they look like against Houston. We'll see what
I
they look like against
only
Houston.
messaged you about Kyron Williams just because it was funny, not because I can actually do it yet.
I know.
Notice I
know.
haven't victory lapped it on the show yet.
I was also pretty reeling from the Vikings loss. I was just like, I don't fucking know what to do with life.
See, now I'm kind of sad I don't have Prime because I can't watch Kelsey after this.
I'll get to
Wah, wah.
watch. I mean, you're not really mentioning the game. Fucking Vikings. Oof.
No, I'm
right,
watching
okay,
the
anyways.
game. I can't watch
Yeah.
the Kelsey documentary after
Oh,
the game. That's
yeah,
what I'm sad
yeah.
about. Anyway, I had Jutenheimer. I think is how you say that. Jotunheimer. Whatever that means. I don't speak German. This is an Eisbach lager, 10%. Again, if you're just tuning in, Eisbachs are typically created by freeze distillation. So you brew a Bach, you freeze it, you siphon off the unfrozen part, and you have a higher alcohol beer, more concentrated flavors. For this one, there's a good amount of chocolate on the nose. Between dark chocolate and milk chocolate with a bit of caramel. At 10%, you definitely get some fusels jumping out of the glass, but they're not hard. They're not, they're not off-putting or anything like that. As you drink it, the malt provides a nice balance and a nice mask for the alcohol. The alcohol is definitely there on the back end, but again, it doesn't drink hot. So, like, you can tell from the mouthfeel, this is a high alcohol beer, but it doesn't drink hot. It doesn't burn. There's no harshness to it at all. There's definitely some richness from the malt character there, but yeah. Overall,
What
I think
happened,
it's a really, really good. No, I'm getting through my fucking beer review. We already got
I'm
interrupted
sorry.
with a
No,
question. I don't
no.
give a
I didn't say
flying
nothing.
fuck what happened, Ryan.
He'll keep talking so he can watch it on his streams.
On
It
my
doesn't need
stream,
me to
which
give
is
the
definitely
recap.
a couple plays behind.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, overall, this is a good example of the style. You don't see this one a lot. This is only the second commercially available Eisbach I've seen. One of them was the import from someplace in one of the Nordic countries. But yeah, very, very much a fan of this. Pollyanna did a really good job with it. Just be aware if you stumble into this, it is gonna be warmer. It is gonna be higher alcohol content. It's not harsh though. There's a reason they only sell it in 2-packs, though. I can tell you that.
Yeah, those will fuck you up, man. Icebox are fun if you ever get your hands on them. I'm a big fan of them.
Dan was
I'm gonna go find
celebrating
him.
a Jordan Addison touchdown. I just got there.
It was
Oh,
big throw too.
Big Jordan Addison.
Big
Well,
62 yarder bomb, perfect, damn near
Perfect.
perfect pass. All 185 of them broke a tackle to get in, just kind of walked in. I'm like, all right, Addison back-to-back weeks touchdown. Throw him in your flex.
Good eye discipline from Cousins. Yep.
And it's been an ugly fucking game. 4 turnovers. Jalen Hurts has dropped 2 touchdowns from Swift. Like Swift literally
with this 1 yard
after their
QB
4th
sneaks.
turnover, he literally fell at the half-yard line. I'm like, Swift about to lose another fucking touchdown, man.
He is.
God damn it.
He's been having a hell of a fucking game. He should be killing it.
To QB sneaks.
Hurts. I mean, honestly,
They get on the half yard line and they're just like, all right, we're gonna push it.
Every
in.
every team should be running that play. No matter who their fucking quarterback is. Like it's like until they create a rule where you can't push the quarterback from behind, that's the play you run.
I honestly
Every
don't
time.
know how many other teams find themselves on the half yard line that aren't the Eagles to be able to run that play.
I feel like it's them and like Buffalo with Allen early on in his career.
Yeah,
Felt like it was
how are you always
or
right?
like Cam Newton too. Yeah, it was just,
how are you always
right there.
directly short of the goal line?
like why do your running backs get tackled at the half yard mark every time? It's like
Every
Jamal
time.
Williams, but with the quarterback.
but quarterback wise, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Moving on to the preview. So typically we'll round robin this to pick one thing to highlight every week. Dan already kind of stole mine, which was don't chase points, don't tilt. So probably have some good waiver wire pickups. There's some good things that happen. Some good guys to watch. Some guys that disappointed you. You don't have any patterns yet in week 2. There are things like guys that get 17 carries and 15 targets where, yeah, you're going to believe that is real. But you also have to understand that Romeo Doubs isn't going for 2 touchdowns every week, right? On 24 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. And you got to understand that, I guess Swift's already playing, but they didn't throw him money for him to get one carry. Or whatever it was last week that was pretty ridiculous. And you have to understand
1 carry and 2 targets.
Yeah, and you have to understand that Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't a round 1 pick to only get 7 carries and break 19 tackles on those 7 carries. So, that's what comes in here. Like, things take a bit to settle in the NFL. And in the fantasy season, you are like, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? You've got 14, 15 weeks of regular season. You're in one of them. You're in week 1. So my advice here is basically don't tilt. Take your new information, use it responsibly. Don't necessarily go chasing points from guys like Dobbs that did 2 touchdowns on nothing. You're gonna have some of that. So yeah, that's kind of my thing that I want to highlight coming out of week 1 into week 2. I got some juicy matchups for you later, but we'll get to Dan and Ryan and then cover whatever the delta is.
Don't drop players just because they had a bad week.
Yes.
Just to drop them, like you're like I had people ask me, I'm gonna just try to drop Pat Freiermuth. No, don't drop Pat Freiermuth. It was San Francisco 49ers. Relax. It's just the first week.
And actually,
Just
as far as
because
tight ends go, he didn't have that bad of a
No.
week, right?
He was
Yeah.
the top. He was like a top 5 tight. God damn.
But then
it.
Right.
Worst week of tight ends I've ever seen. in
I
my
had somebody
life.
even
Oh
ask
my
me
God.
if should I drop Evan Ingram right now. I'm like, don't drop Evan Ingram
No.
either. I'm like, he was like one of the most efficient tight ends all of last week. It's like, relax, people. Just take a breather. Just look at the teams. Kind of understand.
Tight
Like,
ends all
we
look
do-
like they suck. Who you dropping them for?
Another one that sucks.
who the fuck? Let me know who the fuck you're dropping Evan Ingram or Pat Freiermuth for. Just let me
Right.
know who. In our fictional chat, let me know who the fuck are you dropping him
Especially on
for?
a week that had no Andrews and Kelsey. Like,
Yeah.
He's like dropping it for like Josh Kelly and stuff like that.
I
I'm
think
like,
one
no,
yeah.
tight
guys,
end
don't.
or 2 tight ends scored a touchdown too. So it's not like
Are you chasing
These
Hayden
guys
Hurst
popped up.
points? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
you're not gonna go out there and get Adam Troutman, who was already the starter anyways.
And people are freaking out though because they see 0-1, they think, "Oh my god, my season's over."
Yes.
It's
No.
over from here on out. I have nothing to do. I'm trading everything away. I'm done.
Why did this happen to me?
Yeah, it's like people. I've been 0-5, 0-6, and I've made it to championships with that.
All right.
So
Can I give you guys some fun tight end stats? For
Yeah,
fun?
Let's hear it.
Okay. Your top 3 target getters for tight ends were Zach Ertz, TJ Hawkinson, and Logan Thomas.
Hey, good for Logan Thomas.
Good for Logan Thomas, right? 43 yards. No touchdowns. It's the high water mark. Zach Ertz had 10 targets and 21 yards for a tight end. Your highest
10?
Yeah, 10 for
Jesus
21 yards.
Christ.
Your highest yard getter at tight end was Hunter Henry with 56. Your second was Luke Musgrave.
Yeah, Luke.
Evan Ingram, who Ryan just got asked about dropping, was third. Kyle Pitts, who was bitching wasn't involved enough, was sixth.
it
I
was
love
a bad
fantasy
week
football.
in fantasy football.
It was. I love fantasy football. This is what I
Right.
live for. When Zach Ertz gets 10 targets and
21
21
yards.
yards. Come on, just try Trey McBride just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Hunter
fuck?
Henry and Hayden Hurst were your top 2 tight ends as far as points go. TJ Hawkinson had 8 receptions for 35 yards. He was great in PPR. 8
Oh,
for
yeah.
35.
8 for
Donald
30.
Parham, who was undrafted, caught a
Ooh.
touchdown and was your tight end 3 on the week.
Yeah, love fantasy football. This
Blake-
is like
we
disc golf.
expected.
This is like
Your mic died.
I know I did.
Okay.
That's it. I'll keep seeing it.
You want to know who your top 12 tight ends were last week? You ready for this? Hunter Henry, Hayden Hurst, TJ Hawkinson, Donald Parham, Evan Ingram, Cole Kmet, Blake Bell, Sam Laporta, Harrison Bryant, Adam Troutman, Logan Thomas, Zach Ertz.
Love it.
3 of those are top 12 drafted tight ends.
Love it. Just this is why I love. So this is why I play.
You're fine.
This is why we play. Oh yeah.
That's why we play.
Don't-
All right, so I'll give my advice. Find every single high-end player that had a bad week
Trade for
and
him.
see if you can get a trade for him. I'm serious. Like,
Joe Burrow.
go out there and see.
Joe
Get
Burrow.
just a little leak worm because we talk about this. Ryan mentioned, guys, he's getting questions about that seems so obvious why we should not do it. There's people like this in your leagues, even in our own leagues. Like we all play in a bunch of hyper competitive industry leagues, even with their friends that really take advantage of our knowledge. Like you will still find people that are willing to move off of players. Find Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna and just see what's there, right? You're gonna see a lot of articles out there saying trade him for what?
Yeah, I'll take him.
Where the fuck is his value going? Like he just lost his quarterback. What do you think you're gonna get for him?
Josh Jacobs
Well-
had 9 points after missing all of training camp.
Boom. There you
Give
go.
me Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs. Find
Saquon Barkley had a shitty game.
Saquon
Yeah.
Barkley, terrible game. Yeah, it was about
find these guys. As Ryan mentioned, quarterbacks too. Like this was a oddly bad week for most of our favorite starters in streamers.
All of them. They all
Like
sucked.
it was like again week 1. This week 1 was fucking weird. Go out
Josh
there
Allen
and
had
just
4
see.
turnovers.
Well, that's not that weird, but
Brock Purdy and Sam Howell were top
yeah.
12 quarterbacks.
See if you can move Brock Purdy for like I don't know Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Like see if it works. Maybe go Brock Purdy, man. Kyle Shanahan.
That sounds like a family league thing type of move.
Honestly, you see it used like not even just in family leagues, like or work leagues. You see that happen for people that just want to get cute.
Yeah.
Or guys that are like really convicted to their like takes, like they Brock Purdy QB1 and they miss on him. They'll now trade Joe Burrow for him.
Joe
because they're-
Burrow was legitimately your QB 32 out of 32 starters.
That game was watching it with my my good friend, but also my best friend's fiance. She was having a rough time.
Jen.
She was like, yeah, she was
Yeah.
like Nick and I when we were watching the Vikings. But it was worse because it was like they imploded. But for some reason, the Bengals don't play well against the Browns, especially Burrow. So again, go
Oh,
out
good.
there and see if you can take their overreaction and make it your game.
Mm-hmm.
Great advice to give. Also, as these guys mentioned, don't you overreact in that direction either, but take advantage of the ones that do.
All right, some juicy matchups. Chargers against the Titans. I like that one this week. Saints versus the Panthers with no J.C. Horn. The Lions against the Seahawks.
I love
Also,
that matchup.
Patriots and Dolphins. Don't sleep on that one either. We'll get to that here in a minute. Dolphins just gave up a fuckload of points to the Chargers, especially on the ground. Patriots got a couple good backs and had a passing day better than anyone could have possibly expected. So those are the matchups that you want to target, in my opinion. Anything to add to that?
You said Detroit, Seattle, which is like
Yeah, that one's gonna
That's
be
like that's a
pretty.
game I can't wait to watch.
I absolutely. That one's like just like last year. I think when they played last year, they went for like almost 80 total points. Not much has changed. I mean, Detroit's
No.
defense plays a lot better, but these are the sneaky shootout games that maybe that don't get highlighted. Like this isn't the Chiefs in Jacksonville where everyone thinks it's going to be the shootout to happen.
Yeah, and these
Seattle,
are
Detroit,
Yep.
Baltimore, Cincy. Like
yep.
there's going to be
Yeah.
games where you have two good offenses competing. Like
And for Seattle,
Be
that
fun.
gets chalky, but for the Lions, that means somebody like Josh Reynolds, who, had some chunk plays last round. Guess what? You can feel pretty good about starting that this week if you got a guy that's injured, hurt, underperformed, and you're not sure about. Like that's an option for you. Rashid Shaheed with the Saints is something that I feel like you can chase. Mike Williams. Never recommend that, but here we are. So, like, those are some of the juicy matchups. Some things to be careful with. Rams versus the Niners. Not for the Niners, but for the Rams, with Atwell and Puka Nacua putting up 100-yard, double-digit target performances. Much, much tougher matchup. And then Jets-Cowboys. Both defenses came out and put on a show in their Week 1 performances. So be weary about both of those.
Green Bay, Atlanta.
It's another one. That's
Honestly, if you're not the running backs,
don't play them.
I wouldn't play the quarterbacks. I wouldn't play the receivers. Won't play the tight. I mean, I play Pitts because you have to, but this would be like you can sit Drake London this week.
Yep, and I am.
Yeah,
Yep.
Like,
yeah. It's
go to
this-
timeout, especially in a rough matchup. Go to timeout.
This is going to be slow pace. It's going to be a lot of long drives. Both defenses look good against pretty bad offenses in Week 1, and it's going to be one of those. Both teams want to slow the game down. They want to keep the ball in their end, so it's going to expect low scoring and not a lot of plays.
Yep. All right. That's all I got on that front. You all ready for streamers or anything else in the game side?
No, we're good.
All right. So the streamer I want to highlight, remember this is any position, guys that I think should be on waivers. Kendrick Bourne is where I want to lean on this one. I mentioned Reynolds as a bonus earlier. Kendrick Bourne had 2 touchdowns last week. He tied for the team lead in targets. New England's about to go up against Miami, who, again, they gave up a lot on the ground to the Chargers, but New England came out for 300-plus yards passing, looked like a much, much better offensive team with a real offensive coordinator in place. And Kendrick Bourne's actually been on a little bit of a decent hot streak going back to last season. So if you're looking for wide receiver help, Kendrick Bourne's not a bad pick him up and start him this week. I'd imagine with the Dolphins' explosive offense, they're going to have to try to push the pace and push balls downfield anyway. He's been the Patriots' most explosive receiver going back into last season.
Ryan, you can go.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
trying to
so-
watch
You're supposed
we're
to give a player there, buddy. I mean, you can give a take on Kendrick Bourne if you got a take opposite of mine or different or want to be like, yeah, man, you're really smart, but you're supposed to give a player there too. That's kind of the point of that segment.
No, I know. I'm just fucking the other. I agree. But trying to see the short ads and touchdowns. It's just like, wow, Kirk Cousins underthrew him, so he actually had to stop and catch it
He's also getting smoked as he threw it.
big time.
Yeah.
One player I'm kind of curious about is Marquise Brown, because everyone was all hyping him up during the offseason, basically saying he had this wide receiver 1 trait, and then he basically does nothing. Michael Wilson was the main guy who was on the field the whole entire time. I still have faith in Marquise Brown. Don't give up on him just because the quarterback there and the whole team looks like crap. I'm definitely for Michael Wilson. I mean, he's definitely someone who's worth stashing, but still put him in your lineups. He's easily still a wide receiver 3 flex type of play,
I have a bruise
even against this New York Giants.
on my tricep, and I don't know how that got there. I just saw it in the camera. That's why the
You
weird
have a
posing.
bruise in your tricep.
How'd you do that? Are you sure it's just not the lighting? Yeah.
I just noticed it, and I can't really see that part of my arm. So, anyway, who's your streamer again? Sorry.
Marquise Brown. Basically, the Arizona Cardinal wide receivers, just because they're going to try to play catch up.
Dan?
I'm gonna go with not so much stream, but a guy you should definitely start throwing on your list. And Hopper's gonna totally love this because he hates this player. We're gonna go Sean Tucker with the Bucks, and this is a lot to do with the inefficiency of the Bucks running game and Rachaad White, and the amount of work that Tucker got. Snaps he took away. Chicago is a matchup where you could start to see him get a little more work running in. We get to see if White's going to be the guy in this, and if he can, take a good matchup and run with it. So now it's a guy you need to run out and stream, but a guy that you can throw on the watch list as someone we could be talking about in week 2 as a potential pickup.
Tell me I'm gonna hate him, but I actually drafted him late one place, and the thing is opportunity.
It's because I told you to.
Well, yeah,
but without telling you to.
I think the other thing is that opportunity matters more for running backs than talent for the most part. I mean,
especially in redraft, yes.
Yeah, and that's why Kyron Williams is like a thing right now. And so yeah, I don't hate the take because he's the next guy up, right?
Yeah.
What I hated during the draft process is that people were singing him as some massive sleeper, and I didn't see it in the film. It was a similar situation to like Cam Akers, Rashad Penny, guys like that for me in years past. But opportunity matters more for running backs than anything else, and he's one injury away. So, once you get off the fact that I think he was undrafted, right?
Yes,
he was undrafted
hard conditions
with this medical concern that he's been completely cleared of.
Yeah. So once you end up UDFA and a long shot to do things, that kind of changes that opinion, right? There was no draft capital, there was no expectation. So then everybody shuts the fuck up about it, and you can kind of like, all right, cool. Now I want to root for this guy. So I don't hate it. It's a lot different than the situation with Akers or Penny or whatever, where people hyped them, then they got drafted, and people got major hard-ons for them, and then they suck. So
yeah.
Okay, that's the show, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that's the show. Reminder, we are not doing Sunday live streams this year. If you have questions, please hit us up on Twitter at Beerfield. We'll be back next week to recap week 2 and preview week 3. So much for tuning in. We appreciate the questions as they come in. Those are always fun to answer. And we will catch you next time.
Peace.
See ya.